Hello and welcome everyone to the part 3 and the very last part of the CACB application. I hope you guys liked part 1 and part 2. So today we're going to primarily discuss upon how to fill up the form, how to divide your subjects, and how it could further help you speed up your process and what all issues I faced during my application. So without any further ado, let's just begin with it. Okay, going to the next step. Remember, we read about this area where it mentions that you should print the guide for the online application. So, this is one of the form that you need to know. And then there is another form. When you scroll down to the very bottom, you would see foreign programs non-USA. So when you open that, that's how it should be. It should say application for academic certification for foreign programs non-USA. But before we read about that, let's go to the guide itself, which is the guide for the online application for the academic certification. Now it does give you all the table of contents, the introduction, all the categories under which your degree should be evaluated on, and then the 6 categories. For me, it's the 4th category that is relevant. It does mention that for category 3 and 4, applicants with a valid degree or diploma in architecture, that is a first professional degree or diploma, and is accepted as a requirement for registration or licensure in the country of its origin, but is not accredited by the CACB or the NAAB, may apply for the CACB certification. And this involves a detailed evaluation of the academic record. So if you fall in any other categories, please read through it. Remember, I did mention you that there is a place where it mentions that you need more than 2 to 5 hours. So this is where it is. It says that for categories 1, 2, and 6, you should expect the process to take between 1 to 2 hours. For categories 3, 4, and 5, you should expect the application to take between 5 to 12 hours to complete. So since I fall under category 4, so for me, it is this area where it took me like about 2 days, because one day I just gathered all my documents, dividing all my subjects into the respective categories where it best suited, and accordingly I filled in the form the next day. So I will delve on the issues that I faced during the process of filling up that form. Now, under the application form, this is something important that I was mentioning, that while not all fields are required, you are encouraged to submit the most complete application possible. So what this means is that when you go into the form, you would see that there are few sub areas listed in the form, which would not be in relation to the subjects that were taught to you during your university. So it's not that you have to fill in every single subject area of the form just for the sake of filling it up, and you don't leave anything blank, but it's more about having all your subjects that you were taught in your university to be listed in this form for them to be able to evaluate it. When we go to the online application, it would begin with the area where you would have to mention that who you are, under what category do you fall. So for me, it's the second last category where it says a graduate of a professional program from a foreign school of architecture not accredited by the CACB. Next, you would have to add in all your personal details. So remember, we saw a form for the paper application, and I mentioned that you don't have to worry about it for the online application. So there you go, you have these things in this form. So remember, all the things that are marked in yellow are mandatory and needs to be filled in. After that is where you mention your academic program details, like the name of your professional degree. If there is any other, please indicate university or post-program institution, and then you select from the drop-down list. If it is not there, then you just mention that an institution not on the list. After that is where you say that, okay, if you have your course calendar under their database, then you can select from that. If not, then you would have to attach your course calendar. So for me, I had to get my course calendar attested from my dean, and that was the additional document that they required after 3 months of my application. So where I was under the impression that I should be hearing soon from them, it's almost 3 months. There was an email after when I followed up with them that about the status of my application. They said that you know what, we need additional document, and we need this academic calendar that you submitted to be attested from your dean or your head of the department. And I was already in Toronto and my university is in Delhi, India. So it was a task for me, and it took another 15 days. And the timeline began, like the 3 months of timeline began again when I submitted that additional document and they received it. So make sure you have it done in the first place. Or if it is difficult for you to acquire, it would be best if you could actually email them and ask them if they really need it to be attested from the dean, because a few of my friends were not asked. So it depends case to case. So in your case, you can actually email them. They're very quick and fast to reply. Once that is done, you now go into the academic qualification section, which is the step 2 and the core of the form. Here you would have to mention the subjects that were taught to you in your university and divide them under the 6 areas. So this is okay for categories 3, 4 and 5, but for the category 1, 2 and 6, they should skip this part. Like it is not necessary for them. A catch here is that when you are adding your subjects, make sure before you even start filling up the online form, just take a printout, list all your subjects as per the areas, write it down, take some time and do it thoroughly. Do not rush to just attempt to fill in the form. If you read this sentence carefully here, once you have completed the area, like one of the areas, and move to the next one, you will not be able to return and make corrections. However, you will be able to add the corrected course information in the last section called as other courses and include a comment in the remarks field. So it's best if you have all your subjects already divided accordingly and you don't have to add it to the other courses, but there's no harm, you can do it in other courses. When you are in the course information form, you have few things that you need to mention, which is the course name or code, course title, year the course was taken, if the course was taken at an institution other than the one selected earlier, enter the new institution name here, did you pass or fail, lecture hours per week, studio or lab hours per week, course duration and remarks. For me, all these information were available from the academic calendar. Once you add a subject, you are then asked if you want to add any other subject in that sub area. So if you do yes, then you add that information. If no, then you go to the sub area. And when you do that, remember once again that you do not have the option to go back and check the previous area. So it's better to toggle between one area, and then when you are 100% sure, just select no and go ahead. Now, this is very important information where it mentions that these 6 categories or 6 areas are further divided into sub areas. So for example, for the general education, you have English and French, composition, humanities, social sciences, mathematics, natural sciences, electives, and next to it, it does mention how many courses you can add. So I will tell you how I attempted my application, how I divided my courses. So that is again my take on it, and I find it more easier and more convenient for myself, but now you guys can have your own way. Here I would like to mention that it is not necessary to fill all the information. Remember the sentence that we read earlier, that while all the fields are not mandatory to fill, simple, but please fill in the most complete application. For example, English and French composition in my country is taught till grade 12, and in university it's not a mandatory subject. We are not taught that. So here I would not be adding that. So what we need to do is rather have all the subjects divided as per the closest area that we can, and rather than filling in all the parameters that are listed here, it is best that you add in all the courses that were taught to you. I've had people who've asked me that, okay, so in English and French, what do I do? Do I add my course from my school? Well, no. School courses are not the one that are being accredited or evaluated. It's your architectural degree. What matters is your architectural subjects, right? Now, once you are done with it, if you left any of the subject, you can add it under the other courses, which is separate from the 6 areas. You are then directed to cross verify if you have added all your documents. So just make sure you have them ready, and then you do a declaration and then the payment. The payment details are available on the website. When they receive your application, they email you with a confirmation that okay, we've received it, and then there is a particular person who would be assigned your case, and he or she would be contacting you. Now this form shows empty Excel sheet where it does only mention the area and then the sub areas. So here you would not get that much information, and I know people just read this form and they don't know how we should divide our subjects. So now is the time where you go back to the form for the foreign program, non-USA. This is the form that will really help you to fill in your details more easily and comfortably. And before I move any further, I would like to mention that this is the address where you would have to send all your documents to, and that's their email. But after that, a person would be assigned to you, and then you would have their email for direct contact. Going to this form, it repeats all your submission requirement, like all your portfolios and details, how much is the amount. So here we have that they will ask check or money order in the amount of $1,555.44, and this is the form if you are submitting a paper application. Now this is where more described version of the form I would say is. For general education, we have 5 sub parameters. In English or French, humanities, social sciences, mathematics, natural sciences, they have in a detailed manner described it what exactly they mean by it. So let's say for example, number 3, social sciences are defined as the study of the social life of human groups and individuals through the analysis of economic, historical, political, psychological, and sociological aspects of society. So in my case, I had sociology and psychology both as a subject in 2 different semesters. So for me, those 2 subjects would fall under social sciences, right? So this is how you have your social sciences subjects filled against your university subjects, right? And then, for example, your mathematics subjects, you don't have to add your mathematics from your school. Rather, it is defined as the logical study of quantities, magnitudes, arrangements, and change, and of the methods for using rigorously defined self-consistent symbols to make their properties and exact relationships known, either in the abstract or in their practical application. This is where I added costing subject. So this PDF is really helpful in adding all your subjects, and you can divide it. Now, how I divide my subjects was I did not first add anything next to the area 1. I just skipped it. Like I said, I was doing it on pen and paper, so I just skipped it. And I straight away went to area 2, which is the history of architecture and human behavior. Here, my subject was history of architecture and theory of architecture. I have these 2 subjects taught from year 1 to year 4. So straight away I added those here so that the easy ones are done. Correct. Same goes with the environment. So anything related to climatology, I added here. Area 4 is the design and graphic communication. So I had graphic classes, my AutoCAD or software classes, and then my arts and graphic classes, design classes. All those subjects were added in here. And it does mention that what do they mean by level 2 and level 3 and level 4. Oh, so sorry, this is level 1, right? It's just they're missing a space in here. So yeah, so they have divided into that, and it's more easier for you to understand. And then the technical system is where the structure, building construction, HVAC, MEP, all those subjects were added, correct? So these were the easy ones: design, graphics, building construction, history. So straight away I just strike those out and added those. And then the knowledge of the profession, so this was again an easy one. I added professional practice subject, which was taught to us in year 4 and year 5. Once that was done, I went ahead with what was left, and then I reread the description, and I rearranged my subjects based on how many subjects I can add to a particular area. Now, here I see that it is a bit confusing when you read these headings. These are like a little bit different than what is available online on the form. I will actually be sharing few images from the form itself, so it's easier for you even further. But before that, it again gives you a checklist of documents, like it's making sure that you have everything there. So make sure you have that, and then all the conditions and procedures that is required. Okay, so like I said, that I will be sharing few images of the screenshots from the form itself. So here we are. Sorry, I was not able to take the screenshot from area 1 and area 2. Well, those are very simple. But coming to area 3, which is the environment, it does. So you guys can pause the video and take a screenshot of it. And it does mention a brief description of what exactly they need. So this might even further help you divide your subjects. So it says that it defines as the basic principles of ecology, as well as the actions with respect to environment and resource conservation in architecture and urban design, for which the architect is responsible. It includes the constructed artifacts and service infrastructure, as well as the climatic, geographic, and natural characteristics of the site that influence the setting for architecture, right? After that, it would say you can add subjects if you had like landscape, site analysis, site planning, urban planning. Like again, these are basically part of your design project. But if there is a subject that is specifically dedicated for site analysis, and there's a subject code that is listed in your university calendar, then you have to add it. Not that, okay, in this project I did site analysis, so I will add that. No, this is not what they mean. These are the subject or courses, right? So you can add that here. Next is the graphic communication, which is the area 4. So they have further divided into 4 options, and you can read through it, right? Again, pause the video and take a screenshot. But they do mention like very nicely what they expect you to add your subject. So in the first section, which is level 1, they mention that it is only level 1 courses that you will be adding in your next page. So these courses may include basic design, graphic communication, computer assisted design, and photography. So if you had a subject related to photography or CAD, you can add in here, right? So this is where it again mentions about the basic design process, spatial analysis, graphic communication, CAD, and photography. So you can add in here. Once that is done, you are now required to fill in the courses in level 2, 3, and 4, and you have all the detailed information that you can use and fill in your form. So they do give examples: basic design, building design, urban design, landscape and site design, planning, analysis, programming. So all these subjects fall under category 2 to 4. After that is your category 5, the area 5, and the first parameter of area 5 is the structure. Here you need to mention the technical systems. Anything related to structure would go in here basically. It again mentions the same thing but in a very brief manner. After that is environmental control. So it mentions about your heating, air conditioning, which is HVAC, lighting, plumbing, waste and fire control system, building core system acoustics, energy efficiency, alternative energy system and strategies, health and safety requirements, environmental quality. So all these you need to mention in here. After that is your construction, materials and assemblies. In here you would have to add in your subject like building construction or subject related to that, where there were topics including properties and behavior of material, performance of materials and assemblies under use, material selection and detailing, building industry construction sequences and procedures, relative economics of materials and component choices. Moving further is area 6, where it says the knowledge of the profession. In here you would have to add your subjects that corresponds to the study of the legal context of architecture practice, including the rules of professional conduct. So like I said earlier, subjects related to professional practice, like in my case, I added in here. And here it does also mention the courses in knowledge of the profession include project management, finance and economics of development, ethics and procedures of professional conduct, laws affecting professional practice. So anything or any subject or course in relation to these would fall under this, right? I hope these screenshots were helpful for you guys, and now you have a very sound knowledge or better understanding of how you should actually divide your subjects. And I just tried my level best to give you more information on how to divide your subjects. One more thing that I would like to touch upon is that if, for example, there is a name change, like in my case, I submitted a document for that. Again, like I said, you want all your paperwork to be done beforehand and submitted in the first attempt rather than waiting for another couple of weeks and then having your timeline restarted again. Okay guys, so I hope I was able to justify all the contents of this video. And if you do like this content, if you do feel that I was helpful, the information shared was useful to you, and it did help you speed up your process of the application and understand more information about how to actually divide your subjects based on all the 6 categories that are provided by CACB, please do like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you feel that there is anything else that I could delve on, or if you are facing any other issues filing this application, please shoot in the comments. I will do my best to make a video for you in regards to that and then provide more information. Other than that, signing off for now. See you in the next video. Thank you.